another video. I am Volothamp Modulus Tautology. I'm not gonna call this one, what am I doing? I keep forgetting already, right? The, Animal Crossing, I'm just gonna drop this one raw. Trying to keep it as basic as possible. In computer talk, that's the beginner's all-purpose symbolic instruction code. Please don't let that scare you from listening to my voice and trying to understand what I'm talking about. Right. What I have playing in the background is Final Fantasy, the original first game. As you can see, the language is in whatever language it's in. I just downloaded they shouldn't come at me for doing that. Not really playing the game. I just using it for educational purposes. These games came way back in 1987, as you can see on the bottom of the screen. Like, this is when the game originally came out. For the NES, the Nintendo Entertainment Center system. When the NES first came out, I guess in '85, about, right? I was too young for '85 or '86. It might have came out in America. I was 15, so I was at that age of, I can ask my dad for a game system, but it's not. You have to go out there and hustle and get the cash yourself. So I worked at I washed dishes at Derby's Wheel Pump Inn. I became a cashier at Kmart. Little things like that to one day out of the week out of school, or 2 or 3 days depending on. And I used to travel for that. The Kmart, I used to travel all the way out to Flowertown. And I was from, so I would come home from Northeast, from one whole other part of town, and then come home, and if my grades was good enough, or et cetera, I would then go to Flowertown, or my mom would take me, or somebody, or my auntie worked there too, or I figured out a way to get there. I did other jobs too, and it wasn't just those two. And the Kmart one was supposed to be just a summer job, but when I turned 16, I did get my license so that I could, borrow the mom's little escort, and on days that I was able to do it, I was able to drive out there and go to work for a couple hours and then come straight home, so that I can have some cash on my own. That's how we used to do it back in the early, before the 90s, in the 80s. So by 1980, I didn't get my NES until my Nintendo Entertainment System until I was 16, so 1987, for my 16th birthday. So it was already out for 2 years, and I think the price already dropped. That's how it used to go back in the day. Like the system would cost like $250 or $200 or more when it first came out, and then they would pack in the game with it, or other things, or the price would just naturally drop down. So by 1990, you can get an NES for $100. It was no longer $200 because they were expecting the Super NES to come out soon, and the NES was still competing with, if the Genesis just came out, the Genesis just came out then. So in order to compete with the Genesis, the NES, they dropped the price down so that it could compete with the Genesis, and then that's when the SNES came out, like 2 years later, and it surpassed it in sales. That's kind of what the Switch 2 is doing. The Switch 2 is coming out before the PlayStation 6 or the PlayStation Portable. So its only competition is the Nintendo Switch. So that's why, it's that's one of the reasons why they're asking for a crazy amount. Is competition is only itself, which is the Switch 1. Hence, they supposed to drop that price of the Switch 1 and then slot in the Switch 2 at the $350 price that the OLED model is. That's how it was supposed to work. But we're in a everybody's trying to explain the new economic systems that we're using, but where they want to keep the price the same through the whole lifespan. Like the competition isn't the PlayStation 5 or 6 or the other companies. The competition is there is no competition, right? And that's a monopoly. I'm here to tell y'all the truth. Now the competition is when I'm playing this on, which is my iPhone. That's the competition. The iPhone is because I can play all those games on my iPhone. I don't have to splurge to get the new Switch, especially if I already have the Switch 1. And the only game difference I think is the Mario Kart. You see where I'm going with that, right? Like Mario Kart 8 is still a phenomenal game that I can get your friend code and we can go race and have fun and battle, me, you, my son, your son, daughter, etc., as a family or friends, and have a good old time online and share it with the people, get a couple likes and shares, send us some stars, that way we can, collect some cash in order to eventually be able to afford the Switch 2. But it's funny to me watching all of these gamers talking about boycott. Well, they're not saying boycott because that is kind of still in the foundational Black American way. That's the foundational Black American way. When we wasn't getting our rights back in the 60s, it was okay. Y'all don't want us to ride your buses. We're going to boycott riding your buses. You don't want us to send our children to your school? They don't have to go to your schools. And it's the same thing happening today. That's why it gets a little frustrating, because for the most part, that's what desegregation is hey, no, we want y'all to come to our school. We want the black kids to go to the white schools. But socioeconomically, the problem becomes school choice. That's what Donald Trump is trying to be adamant about. Like, yes, it's hard to gentrify everybody, to have black people move into the white areas, because that's actually the same thing as, desegregation. Segregation will be, this is our neighborhood, this is our school, this is where we're going to build our community, right? What Malcolm X was talking about was separation, meaning this is our neighborhoods, this is our schools. Stop coming around our neighborhoods, or stop sending all these white police officers to our neighborhoods, and they are being unjust. They're practicing injustice on us, So it's okay, we need to get our own police, but then when that happens, then you have blacks having the same issues now with fighting against the cops, when it wasn't really like that. But the way the mindset of racism in a form called white supremacy works, now we're talking about a Western psychological methodology. It becomes counterproductive. So therein is in 1985 when Mayor Wilson Goode dropped the bomb on Move. It's we don't consider that to be white supremacy. See, he's a black mayor, but it was under the guise of white supremacy because of how the country is constructed systemically. We want to say socioeconomically is the system and how it's working against foundational Black Americans. So that, yes, I'm foundational Black American, yes, I can create my own little content, but as soon as I say Black, it's, the white side goes, we don't like that word. That's what the computer does for YouTube and everything. We don't like that word Black, so it's going to attack the Black. And that's what's going on, and that's what the mentality, and I'm using mentality as a Western psychological methodology, is in attacking Black people, whether it's foundational Black Americans, Africans, even Native Americans. See how it goes. Now, the fact that I said Native Americans, that's the identity that Black or white is fighting over. The identity of being here first. B1 means we were here first. Year zero. We are now in 2025, the year of our Lord, but year zero, Black people are already here. White people tell you they didn't come until 1492. And when they came here, that's what they documented, Negroes. Now it's Blanco or Negro. And they want to claim that that's diversity. When that's all that is my Hispanic brothers, maybe my Spanish, my Italians, maybe my Dominicans, my Jamaicans, my Haitians, my maybe Mexican, my Venezuelan, my Brazilian, right? My people. But when you have people being able to exist without law, you're going to have those that's going to break the law. So then therein we need the law officers, the lawyers, and then judges, legislation, or legislators, all the way up to the President of the United States, whose only power is executive orders. And it's funny to me because he or she is not an excluded middle. It's not a choice. God made you either a boy or a girl when you were born. And it's funny to me how people want to argue, fight, even kill over such a notion. Now I'm using Final Fantasy as a background because it's available on my phone. All right. I just said all that to, demonstrate some of this. Now this one here is still Final Fantasy, the same game, but this is the newer version. Now this version, as you can see, came out 1987, 2010, they got it. So it was 1987 was the original year. 2010 is when this version came out. And it was a lot of versions in between that and this one. There's versions on the Game Boy Advance. There's versions on the DS. There's versions on, other Nintendo consoles. And every time they made it a little cleaner, a little better looking. So this one was the last one that I paid for, but never really got a chance to play it. I paid for it maybe when I had my iPhone, I want to say 4 is when I started buying games, really. So my 4S, I had an iPhone 4S. I originally started with the iPhone 3GS, which was the iPhone 2. Then I got the iPhone 4S. Then I got the iPhone 7. And now I have the iPhone 14. And so when I put this version on this, I already paid for it back then. It let me know that hey, there's a newer version coming out, or that came out, um, and it wanted me to buy the new version. It's like, nah, I ain't buying it again. But I'll just let you know, I'll just keep playing this version of it and enjoy this one. So that's what I did. You know what I mean? I'm not paying for it again and again and again just to make it a little more appealing visually, you know? And therein is debate with what Nintendo is doing is, yes, I have, how much my time? Just checking my time. Oh, 15 minutes. I got a lot of time. Like, I only want to do 30 minutes of these kind of raps. Because I'm trying to catch a lot of people up on what's going on and what I'm really talking about. It's, I'm talking about, playing the video games with my son, but I'm also teaching him, hey, this is an 8-bit system way back in the 1980s. This is a 16-bit system that came out in the 90s. This is a 32-bit system that came out in the late 90s. 64-bit also came out in the late 90s. And then how we went from one 64-bit CPU, the central processing unit, to making it be able to include multiple cores within the CPU. So instead of naturally going up to 128-bit, 256-bit, 512-bit, I'm doing pretty good with that, right? 1024-bit, it just made, okay, we're just going to stay at 64, and then we're going to add multiple what's called cores. So at first it was two 64-bit cores on one chip. Then it became 4. Then it became 8. Then it became 16. So it started doubling and tripling that way. Thusly, what word am I looking for? Proving or agreeing with was called Ohm's Law. Now, Ohm's Law, I will have to bring out my old physics books or whatever to actually read that law and be able to analyze that with you. All that is unnecessary. Just like me trying to explain it the way that I'm explaining it as basic, the beginner's all-purpose symbolic instruction code. Right? All the beginner's all-purpose symbolic instruction code is, all basic is not, and, or, if and only if, or if then, if and only if. Basically, those are the 5 connectors, logical operators that connect the words, how we see them as words, into the computer program or computer understanding 101001111010101010101010101010101010101. Right? That's what we know is computer talk. Sorry about that. Trying to make sure I kind of muffle my voice because I'm using low budget equipment, but it's all good, right? I know what I'm talking about. So like, subscribe, share, send a donation. Y'all can find my Cash App. I'm trying to practice not giving it away to say, here's my, so that you can send me $1, because that's all I really ask is $1 or whatever. I'm seeing that they incorporated these things in their systems. Like Facebook has stars now, so send me some stars. That way I can convert the stars into cash so that I can use the cash specifically for getting a new microphone or I need a couple new computers or whatever. But I'm doing all of that on my own outside of doing this, and that's what we're all trying to do. I share friends, family that are trying to do the same thing. But it's funny to me when I can watch a young lady play Animal Crossing, and all she's doing is her daily routine of, I'm going to build me a new moat in my animal. So I'm going to cut here, I'm going to dig here, I'm going to add flowers here, I'm going to add, showing you how to play the game, and her name is Lexi. Shout out to Lexi, right? And while she's playing the game, I see $1, $5, and it's like, Lexi on time. And then all I want to do is, Lexi, what's your friend code? I just want to come by, visit, wave, and then leave. You know what I mean? And use that on my channel. Like, I visit Lexi. You know what I mean? Start like a mile. You know? And yes, it's a girl game. You know? Final Fantasy is a Dungeons and Dragons game. Yes, girls play it. But it's about fighting dragons, using swords. It's about, we might have to cut off the head of Medusa. So now you're talking about fighting witchcraft. And you got the people with Western psychological methodology, mind issues, mental issues, that reports you for, hey, he's black. And black is a negative connotation. It is working like that. It is working for them, so that kind of suppresses the voice of foundational black Americans, because yes, I do have friends that are from the 70s, because we are the children of the 1960 civil rights movement. We see Spike Lee as being our big brother. He is a baby boomer, but he's our big brother, right? I don't really give him elder, next level elder kind of thing. I like my dad gets elder, next elder kind of thing, right? But even he acts like an old fart sometimes, because he's more into Star Trek. I'm more into Star Wars. So when I try to say, hey, Dad, want to watch some Star Wars? Nah. But he'd be sitting there watching Star Trek. Like it's two completely different things. But he just likes Star Trek because it's a little more, he'd be assuming, but he does. He likes Star Trek a little bit more because it's more, the military is the winners. In Star Wars, the military is the bad guys. The emperor, the leader, or the president, right? Trump, he's the evil emperor. That's what they're trying to sell him as. So we supposed to be what? Jedi, and go fight him. Ain't no thing, whatever, I'll go fight him. But not all the Jedi was ready to fight him. They were some of them were just trying to defeat him. There's no reason to try to, kill him, right? But who was the killers? Apparently it wasn't Yoda. It wasn't Obi-Wan. Remember Obi-Wan, he didn't want to go fight Anakin because I can't kill my own. Let me go fight the Emperor. You fight, you know what I mean? You fight Darth Vader, shoot Anakin so that, he doesn't become Darth Vader, right? Instead, they, left him there to die, or Yoda got beat down too much. He was like, I can't take him. I'm out. I'm gonna go chill on Dagobah for the next millennium, right? Excuse me. I don't have my water with me. And I pretty much talked long enough. It's 24 minutes in. And then here's the third one. So, where is it at? Here it is. So, this is the newest version of Final Fantasy 1. The Pixel Remaster. So this is the one that they asked me to buy, and I was like, nah, I ain't buying it. So recently, I wanted to watch a Phillies game. So I broke down and gave my Apple account a month subscription. Because I've been kind of boycotting having 5, 6, 7 And well, economically, because we just coming out of Bionomics, and that's what was killing most of us, is that we'll have 5 different accounts or whatever, like YouTube TV, Prime Video, Disney, each one, Netflix, like each one is $30, and next thing you know, you're spending $200-300 a month. You might as well get a cable, right? And you might have that on top of cable anyhow. Like some people are paying ridiculous amounts on entertainment, and what you watch, an hour, 2 hours a day, if that. That's why a lot of people, the people that play games only play games. People that watch movies only watch movies, really. Like they don't really watch TV, and people that watch TV only watch TVs because they can't afford to go to the movie theater. That's why they have us all locked up socioeconomically. That's the systemic that they got us, and we're calling it. I forget what they call it, but they're calling it it's the early phases of the Matrix, where they're using digital currency to control our lives, and it's like, I'm good. And then they ask them, well, where's that cash at? Like, what's my movie? Denzel's movie that he won the Oscar for, where the boy had the, it'll hit me in a second, classic movie. But that's where we at. We gotta hide the cash in our basement under the floor, from the cops, the corrupt cops. I mean, it doesn't get more next level in explaining what's actually going on than that right there, right? What is the name of that movie? Why am I drawing a blank? That didn't hit me, but y'all know it. Say it in the comment section or something if y'all paid attention this far in it. Denzel won an Oscar for the movie. I know the name of the movie, but I'm just trying to wrap up on what I'm going to be. So this is on Apple Plus, and I can play it for free. So for my next couple, kind of videos, I'm gonna touch back more on what Final Fantasy is. What does it mean to the role-playing world? My original Dungeons and Dragons game is Ultima 4. That goes all the way back to 84 or so. I had it on I had a Commodore 128 back then, which is a Commodore 64. The second, like I said, 64, 128, 256. That's how it grows, just like parenthood. Like everybody has 2 parents, everybody has 4 grandparents, hence everybody has 16 great-grandparents, and it keeps growing as you go further back in time. 32, 64, 128, 256. That's why it's hard to tell who is and who isn't foundational Black Americans lineage, because you do have you have 4 great grandparents that came here by slave boats. The rest of them was from Mongolia or something like that. And because of the 1-drop rule, that makes you African? All right, stop. Right? Stop being dishonest. And we're not going that far back, because I'm talking about 1776. They were already here. We started building down in, South Carolina. South and North Carolina. Before they were states. There it is. I hope y'all kind of understand a little bit more about what I'm rapping about over here. I'm talking about real history. I'm just using dates to connect a little bit. 1526 was one of the first black, or should I say, slave revolts. But of course it was black people versus the colonizers, because they were the ones that were claiming white supremacy. This has been another quick update to help your mental, physical, and spiritual health moment. I'm gonna try to throw it as Final Fantasy, but at the same time throw it as One God, Our Father, Art of Time, Hip Hop, Life, Love, One. We are about loving God, our Father, Art of Time, Hip hop, life, love one, motherhood. Need y'all to focus more. Y'all, all this Kamala Harris laughing like the Joker when she's leading y'all clearly down a path that y'all really shouldn't go down. Pointing at all of manhood, all of brotherhood, all the fatherhood of God as the enemy. It's going to destroy you in the end. God is love. God is love. Life is hip hop. Time is holy. Money? That's nothing more than a fourth dimensional illusion that really doesn't exist. You see, macroeconomics is making the most out of life. Microeconomics is shaking your dirty ass on that pole for $1. I'm just keeping it 100 with you, sis. I'll holler at y'all later. This has been Volothan Modulus, Chucky Biblical. I'm just keeping it real. That's my, Chuck D took my rap name, so I recently decided Chucky Biblical, you know what I mean? But in the album coming out soon, peace to the gods and the earths. And my Christian brothers and sisters. Peace. Compassion, peace, and happiness.